Did it freeze up for you?
No, not really.
Well, that's good. I'm glad. That is our brand new intro, Zach, for the culture. Well, we are tonight waiting on our guest to join us. Tonight's guest is Commissioner Vivian Thomas. She might be related to you. We'll find out. You guys could be distant cousins from the diaspora. It is great to see you again. How has your week been?
Oh, my week has been busy. Definitely. I know we're going to talk about it, and because of the work that I do, it's just been hectic, from the Buffalo shooting to the shooting in California. All what I would say probably was hate related. And so definitely been busy trying to do some debriefing and some counseling and some reflection with individuals that I work with.
You know, I think it's been a hard week for so many people. And I want to say that, you know, it's important. It's really difficult to be able to function effectively in any part of your life, whether it's your workplace, whether it's with your family, when you feel as though your very own existence is at risk. Mm-hmm. The rhetoric that resulted in the Buffalo massacre, the response even to the Buffalo massacre, to me has been so subpar. And I understand there's a lot of fear around saying something wrong, but on my social media feeds, I've seen so little response. I have seen people basically just continue on with life as usual on the feeds. Thankfully, I have seen a lot of the mainstream media giving this attention and peeling back the layers and revealing information. But I don't feel as though the public response to this massacre has been similar to other situations. And it really concerns me. It makes me feel as though that some people are getting desensitized, and this type of violence is becoming all too commonplace. We had the massacre in Atlanta at the salons. Mm-hmm. We had the massacre in the South Carolina church. I mean, these things are happening more and more frequently, but if we don't speak out against it, if we don't fight and demand a response from our leaders, from our society as a whole, it's going to happen more and more. And that really bothers me.
No, and I think people have become numb to it. As well, Zach. I think I want to read you just a little bit of the post that I put up. I said, if Black employees are quiet this week, let them be. If Black employees are sick this week, let them be. If Black employees are sad this week, let them be. If Black employees are distracted this week, let them be. If they're restless, if they're exhausted or they're distanced, let them be. We've suffered another trauma this weekend, but yet nothing has happened. And we saw how we've had double standards. So just let us be. And so I think that's where a lot of people resonated. I had over 6,000 views on that, as well as comments. I did have one person respond to me and say, employees shouldn't come to work and do that because that's unprofessional. If the military and the, what else did he say? If the military and the police and the medical fields can go out and do that, then they should be as well. If they need time, they need to take time off. And so my response to that was, with all due respect, I disagree. Not everyone has the privilege to stay home and grieve, protest, or reflect. Many individuals of the BIPOC community don't have that luxury. This is a reality for us. If organizations truly cared about DEI beyond the statement, they respect the decisions of employees and how they grieve. So to be distant, exhausted, sick, distracted, doesn't indicate that one would not perform their tasks, duties, or responsibilities in a professional manner.
You know, I think you're right, but I want to emphasize that this is not a Black issue.
It's not.
You cannot separate the fact that this was a racially motivated hate crime. You can't stop or separate the fact that this was an action of motivated hatred aimed at killing Black people. You can't deny that. But the reality is the Black people shouldn't be the ones tired from fighting this or raising awareness about this. And that's been my argument with you as a thought partner all along, is that the work to end racism is work that white people must do, because they are the ones who benefit from white supremacy. They are the ones who uphold it. They are the ones who committed this massacre and gave an environment that fostered this shooter. And, I want to say that in this moment, and Commissioner Vivian is joining us. I think I see that her device was trying to connect, but then now it's gone. Hopefully she'll be with us soon. I want to say that I feel a level of, the word isn't empathy. It's not even compassion. That's not what I feel. Something for this massacre, this murderer, because this is a kid. This is an 18-year-old who has been inundated and indoctrinated with hate and fear for probably way too many years of his life. And I'm afraid that there are a lot of young people out there who, have come of age during the last 6 years of our United States of division. The rhetoric of 2016 to 2022, the turmoil and the upheaval of 2016 and 2022, that's all they know. And if they're at home in an environment with their parents, and their parents are not educating them and helping them filter through the bias and filter through the noise, they will believe all these things they've been taught.
But I agree with you, and I definitely understand where you're coming from. And after hearing so much of what's happened over the past week and some of the things that's been said, it's baffling how we were so concerned about CRT, but yet what created his madness to go create this massacre was WRT, white replacement theory.
Well, that's
when have we replaced you?
Well, here's the thing: we were not concerned about CRT, and the majority of Americans, like look at the polls. The majority of people in America are not concerned about critical race theory, because the majority of people in this country are educated enough to know that that is not a real issue that's threatening their life, their livelihood, or their American educational system. It was a divisive political issue that was made and brought to the forefront to sow division among the people, and this is a result of that division. I also don't think that the majority of Americans are worried or concerned about white replacement theory. This is just fodder.
One in three believe that.
And you're right. But here's the thing: when that is all they see every single night, when they're turning on their favorite news program on Fox News and they're watching Tucker Carlson in action, and he's constantly saying it, you have Sean Hannity who's constantly saying it, and then you literally see that someone like Kyle Rittenhouse becomes like a national hero figure among a group of people that you align yourself with. It is unfortunate, and I think that it may be understandable why 1 in 3 Americans may believe that there is this movement to replace or overturn the majority of American citizens, when I didn't even know such a thing existed or such a concept was around. But it also goes to show that there's a lot of underground sentiments and underground channels of communication that exist, that perpetuate white supremacy, hatred, homophobia, and a level of planning that is really concerning. The fact that we found out today that 15 people were ready to watch this on this young man's live stream before it happened. Oh. To some level, that to me indicates that perhaps those 15 people need to be questioned. We need to look at their communication. How did they know this? Was it just randomly that you follow him and you just saw that he was going live and you went on? Or did you know this was going to happen and you did absolutely nothing to save the lives of these people? There's so many layers and so many things that need to be explored. And I'm hoping that in the months and even maybe year to come, we find out more. Mm-hmm. I know my personal response has been one of dejection. I know that I've been very defeated all week, right? If you look at my social media, I haven't really been able to make any post because I have no words to express my sadness over this. This should not be happening again. This is like what we went through in South Carolina all over.
Mm-hmm.
This is like what we went through with the spa shootings in Atlanta all over, where
Mm-hmm.
innocent people are simply going about their day, living their life. They're not known. We don't know their beliefs. We don't know anything about these people, and they've lost their lives. And this is happening over and over and over again, and nothing is being done about it. And I feel as though nothing can be done about it. At the exact same time that all this is happening, people who are perpetuating hatred were elected to represent their political party in the November elections. Where we are is scary, is concerning, and it is confusing. And there's a whole movement on TikTok, Zach, I don't know if you've seen it. There's a whole movement on TikTok of Black people ready to leave America, right? And
I saw something about that. Like
lots of Black people. It's like 100 influencers on TikTok who are like chronicling their journey to become expats, leaving America, right? Like this is not the first time you had a mass movement of Black people leave this country. They did it for Europe in the 60s. James Baldwin, famous expatriate, right here, you know, some of his books are on the list on my shelf of like displayed books. But here's the thing. Will you be treated any better anywhere else? Because racism is not uniquely American. White supremacy might be a uniquely American Western Hemisphere situation, but racism against Black and brown people is everywhere. It's all over the world.
Not in Wakanda.
Right, not in Wakanda. The only place that we can exist safely and have an opportunity at a normal life without the constant barrage of trauma in the 21st century is in the fictitious places of our dreams. It's heartbreaking. But like, and I want to tell the people on the TikTok, like, I'm sorry. I know you know, they're doing it's beautiful content, like their dreams and hopes for a better life. Many in Mexico, I see it, but we are people without a home. Like you are an American citizen. Like I'm an American citizen. I belong here just as much as anybody else. I have the same rights as everyone else, and they can't be taken away from me. When you go to another country, you have no rights. Look at poor Brittany Griner, who is right now trapped in Russia with no recourse. You're not a citizen of that country. You should have left when you were told to leave. But again, hindsight is 2020, but you have no rights. You have.
She was working for them.
Yeah, exactly. Which even adds more insult to the injury that she's sustaining. You have no rights. And not only do you have no rights, but you don't even get the opportunity to have a fair judicial process. Your whole existence now is dependent upon this governmental system where you have no rights. And it makes me think to myself, if these Black Americans who leave this country go, they could very well be in that same type of situation. So it breaks my heart. It really does. It really makes me afraid for where we are in this country and where we're headed. So Commissioner Vivian is, I don't know what's going on. I'm waiting. I haven't gotten a text yet, but she cannot log in. Okay, I just got a text.
So what else is going on in your week? I saw you went to St. Louis. How was that?
It was nice. It was good. It was a good experience. But again, like you said, my whole week has been overshadowed by Buffalo. It's been the biggest thing in my week. It's something that I can't really shake. But I had a great time in St. Louis. I met some amazing people. I was there to do a keynote speech for the Goodwill of Missouri's Excel Center, which is an amazing program. I interviewed the center's leaders on the Zach that Speaks On about what they were doing to give adults opportunities to obtain their education when the education system, didn't work for them, didn't do it. So I love that experience. It was great. And one thing we talked about was strengths. And we talked about living in your strengths and using your strengths at times like this. And so for me, I'm trying to lean into my strengths as well to just cope with all that's happening in our world. But my strengths are pretty crappy when it comes to dealing with things like this. I'm not strong in the relationship area. What are your top 5 strengths again, Zach?
You would ask me this, and I don't have them.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I can't remember. Yeah. I'm not futuristic like you. I'm not a
futuristic is a huge strength of mine. And when you speak
I'm not a war like you. No.
You're not a what?
A war.
A wooer. I actually don't have woo. I have the opposite of woo, and it's called relator. Is in my top 5.
Oh, I'm a relator.
And that's probably why we're good friends, because relators cultivate deep relationships with people in all the quadrants of their life. So at work,
I think I have command.
I bet you do have command. You literally tell people what to do. Makes you ill-equipped to lead me. You're not gonna be my damn boss. You're not gonna be my boss. So you're barking commands at me. So yeah, you have command of time. I can see it. I can believe it. I can believe you have command. I do not. Command is not in my top 5. For me, it is strategic, achiever, futuristic, learner, and relator. Those are my top 5 strengths, and I use them as much often, or try to at least. So, we're going to give Commissioner Vivian a little more time to log in. If not, we'll, keep it short and keep it sweet. Next week, we actually do have a great guest lined up. Tiffany, Double D Mother from TikTok. Have you seen our content, Zach?
No. Zach, you're making me want to join TikTok.
Well, according to a very prominent influencer, the TikTok movement is coming to an end. The whole entire concept of being an influencer, according to a recent podcast that was released, says that the whole influencer concept is coming to an end. And I'm actually kind of in agreement. We are looking at of course, our economy is about to recess because you want it to recess. You want a recession to happen because you're complaining about gas prices and you're complaining about all the inflation. The only way to bring things down is to have the economy as a whole recess. We saw that. We have begun. Oh, we got Commissioner Vivian on the line. So, Commissioner Vivian, we're talking about your economy and how your economy is beginning to go into a small recession because that's what you want. You are demanding gas prices go down. You are demanding that prices on food go down. The only way that's happening is for the economy to begin to shrink a little and to recess. And that's what we saw from the most recent economic numbers, including more Americans filing for unemployment last week. So we see it happening. But when that happens, I believe, Zach Thomas, that we're going to see a shift in this whole concept of an influencer economy. I believe that this influencer bubble is about to bust because brands will not, I believe, continue to invest money in the everyday Joe and Jane to promote their products at a guaranteed return on investment. That's what I believe. So I think that my futuristic skills say that's coming.
Okay, now let's talk about something that is possible now.
Okay, what's possible now, Commissioner Thomas?
Now let me tell you something. When we talk about where we are, and I'm going to get to what you said about futuristic, but let's talk about some things that have been made possible because of COVID-19 and the positions that we're in. Because of a pandemic, it changed the dynamics of our conversation, meaning that essential workers became very important to us. They became essential to us, essential to our life, essential to what we need to operate. We found out we needed that garbage person. We needed that nurse. We needed someone to take care of us. We found that they are no longer just the waiter or the server. Okay. In addition to that, it opened up doors of opportunities for minorities that were closed because there were some CEO positions, some positions in warehouses, some position in logistics, some positions in management that we will look past to hold. But they need us so bad now. There are signs everywhere saying help needed, help needed, help needed, and we will pay you $18,000, $19,000 a year. Okay, those jobs were closed to us. They were not available. We will look past for those jobs. It's not that I want to say that the pandemic was a hero, but the pandemic opened doors to us that were closed. Now we have a responsibility. It is our responsibility to walk into those doors of opportunity. Mm-hmm. And many people are riding out this comfort level of, okay, I'll get a job one day. Okay, I'm going to go back to work. I'm going back in the office. I still have a little bit more time before I have to go back to work because we received some assistance. Okay, there was a flood door of assistance made available, and some of us got that money. Now, if we don't take advantage of the fact that these doors are open for us to get these positions that was once closed to us, then that recession that you're talking about, that time period when the money dries up, that time period when gas is going to get a little bit higher, we won't be prepared. In my mind, in my position, you prepare for that future that we're talking about, Mrs. Zack. You prepare for it. You start to decide, this can't be like this forever. What can I do to prepare? And there are some things you can do to prepare. Okay. Now, I wonder how many people actually decided, let me get another skill during this time of the pandemic. How many decided to add to the educational level during this time of pandemic when they had some time at home where they could work at home, take a class at home, get some certifications at home, or even another degree. So you'll be prepared for that. And what did you put back for that emergency? So there is something here that says to me that we have to be accountable for our actions to be prepared for what you just described. That's what the part that I am very concerned about. Now, like you said, this is my economy. Let me talk about Vivian for a moment as a commissioner. District 4, my first time running. I've been in there 3 years and about 5 months. I have a brand new hospital that's open on Patrick Henry Boulevard in Henry County. Before it opened, before it turned the dirt, I had the CEO online saying, what type of jobs are you bringing to the community? What type of requirements are you looking for? Because I wanted us to prepare to say, I want to make sure I'm ready to get one of those high-paying jobs. Okay? Now, I think that was my responsibility. You don't wait until it's done and go, we had another Black person in. They didn't do anything. We didn't get anything. Wrong. Okay, another Black person in who opened that door. I have 2 retail outlets coming open, which is a Publix and an Ace Hardware, and both have wing stores on them. I've had open community conversations about it, saying here's what's available. Just in case you want to get the contract moving the dirt, the contract doing the curving, at the building, the contract of supplying the personnel, whatever. When these doors of opportunity open, we must walk in. And you cannot wait until it's done and then say, I can't get in. That's where I want us to focus a little bit on. What is our responsibility? What should we be doing in lieu of what you just described to us?
Well, Commissioner Thomas, I have a different point of view. Okay. And so it's more of, I don't believe we should walk through every door that opens for us, because that might not be the door for us. Mm-hmm. And also to your point of having these opportunities open, I think, yes, they're available, but I think since the pandemic, people have rethought their way of work. And not only do I have to go into an office and sit behind a desk, I've been successful working at home. Does this employer offer that? I think people are rethinking the benefits of how am I able to do my work, because I have a health care, I might be a caretaker. And so you have to think that our companies offering that ability for these employees, everyone is not just going to jump to an opportunity and say, oh, this is the first opportunity because it's open, the door is open, should I take it?
Now, I agree with you. All opportunities are not good opportunities, just like all dollars are not good dollars. Absolutely agree with you on that. I'm an entrepreneur as well as a commissioner, as well as have taught high school. So I totally agree with you. You do have to sit down and make your plan as to what is good for you. I teach my students and my adult students, okay, my students and adult students, to still use their little black book. I have a little black book. I almost picked it up. I don't know where I put it in here today. And I make them start at the back of that book, Zach. And I said, in the back of this book for 2022, when 2022 ends, there you go. Where should you be? And I don't care if it means I need to have paid off this MasterCard, bought this house, changed careers, started my own company. But at the end of 2022, what is it that you want to say I have accomplished? So it's like a measuring stick. And then I tell them, now that you have written that down, I force them to sit there and do it, to search themselves. It can be anything from, I need to lose that extra 10 pounds. Don't talk about my weight now, Zach, okay? Whatever that point of measurement is, put it in the back of the book. Then now I want you to go to the front of the book and make the road map to get there. And the whole goal is, if you find yourself getting off track, I want you to look to the back of the book again and say, I'm off track. What do I need to do to get back on track? Going back to your point, every opportunity is not a good opportunity. Every job is not a good job. Somebody needs to be our entrepreneurs and own our own businesses. I am an entrepreneur at heart, have been an entrepreneur for 30 years. Every successful Black woman I just about know, we had a hustle on the side. We called it, this is mine. This is what I own. Now, maybe they were working the job as the pharmacist during the day, and they had something else. They were making their own makeup line on the side. They were putting together what it takes to have my own makeup line, what chemicals, what this, what that. And then when they're ready to launch their own makeup line, they say, okay, I got it now. I can depart from this part. So I totally agree with you. But you won't know that until you decide what that purpose is that you want to accomplish in your life, what it is you want to do for either a short period of time or a long period of time, and put them both in some type of format. And if you don't put money to it, you're not for real. Anything you invest in, invest your money and time in, which is life, invest money, time, and life in, those are your for real things.
Well,
and invest in yourself. So, yeah.
Right. Well, here's a question. I mean, I think you make some really good points. I agree with you. I agree with Zach also about every job is for everybody. Again, we are, we're going to be experiencing a different American economy, in quarter 3 and 4 of this year on into next year.
Right.
What are some things, that young people specifically, right? Because, we've lived through these moments. We've lived through these times. We know enough to prepare ourselves for an economic recess. We know enough to have, or have earned enough or made enough to have multitudes of income and money in the bank. But what can young people do to make themselves better prepared for this recession? Because it's a different day for them, and there's a whole different level of thought around, what they've seen, what they've witnessed. Here's an example. You referenced earlier about, using the time to prepare yourself through an education. I personally, as someone with 4 degrees, one of them being a terminal degree, ed leadership, EDD, I do not believe that every single person needs to invest in an education. I believe that every single person needs to invest in themselves. I believe every single person needs to identify what their strengths are, what their talents are, what their passions are, and what their ultimate goals are. But that may lead them to not pursue their education. What can young people do now to be, again, prepared for what some are anticipating to become a recession?
Okay, now you go back to what you just stated. Education at some levels may not be for everyone. I totally agree. We have too many Black people in debt with degrees, and those degrees are not paying back on a return on that investment. They're not getting the return on investment of what they've invested for those degrees. I will agree with you on that. And sometimes it could be learning that technical degree from, and I'm just picking something, from electrician to a plumber to AC. When the AC guy come out here, I want to cry. It's $1,200, $1,500, and if he's doing that 4 or 5 times a day, he's doing exceptionally well. So, Zach and Zack, you are absolutely correct. So I'm going to go back and say, my young people need that person like a you, like a me, like a big uncle, like a somebody, like that teacher to say, help me map out me. And sometimes there was sessions like this where we're sitting around and we're talking and we're going, okay, we got to fix this thing here. Let's see, what do you like? Do you like red and blue? Do you like working with your hands? And we have to help them birth that thing that's in them, because some of them really have not reached a point where they can do it by themselves. Okay, so that's number one. Opening doors of opportunity also means open doors of discussion. Surround yourself with people that will push you to think beyond where you are. If you have an amen corner and all they can say, I like your shirt, I like your shoes, I like the coffee you drink. Oh, what did you have for breakfast? I like your breakfast. I have a girlfriend, oh my gosh. She would challenge me to the nth degree. And she said, I'm in campaign mode. She's also running for an office. She said, I hope I have a friend when we finish this campaign, because she's pushing and she's finding those nooks and crannies that need to be developed. Allow someone to help you develop into the best you. Mm-hmm. That's how we help each other as a village and as a people. Don't close those doors, because everything isn't for everyone. Absolutely. I've got to agree with you on that. But we do have to find it in talking to the right groups of people and listening to the right people is a door to doing that. Education is a door, be it high school, be it technical school, be it a college degree or an upper graduate degree. We just have to find which one it is that's going to produce for you.
You've chosen to run for, a commissioner seat, in some places it's called city council, some places it's called supervisor, same level of position with a municipal impact. Why did you select that position as the one that you would run for?
Now, to tell you the truth, that happened by happenstance. I really have been in the political arena for over 20 years, but in the background. I'm an advocate. I've worked through the NAACP, and I'm going to advocate. I love my chocolate inside, outside, all of it. Okay? So, and I have worked for issues. If there's an issue that's dear to my heart, I have been down to the Capitol lobbying for it, making statements on it, presenting before caucuses. And I like that background work, because I have been able to move some things as a citizen, okay, concerned citizen, and through agencies. And my goal was to work with my then commissioner, who would not pay me any attention. That's the wrong thing to do. Don't ignore me. Don't treat me like I'm not here. So I decided I'll just take your job. Okay. Now, literally, that was a decision I made. I'll just take your job. I did some research. I do believe in research. I do believe in reading. And I determined that this position has direct impact in my community. This position allows me to have the police chief reports to this board, okay? It allows me to set the budget for the sheriff department, even though he is a constitutional officer and has authority beyond the board, but we do set his budgets and what monies go directly to him. It allows me to determine what roads are going to be finished and when. So I can determine if Miss Ann's road is in that punch or not. It allows me to determine where parks and recreations facilities will be. It allows me to do that. It allows me to be a partnership with nonprofits who've never had the opportunity to be a partnership with government before. And so I looked at the influence and the power that it gives in the local community. And I said, okay, Vivian, instead of just protesting and presenting on these topics, let's get inside and make a difference and become the decision maker and the policy maker for this area. So if I put forth a resolution to say all houses will be pink, and I can convince 3 other commissioners that all houses must be pink in a certain area, all houses will be pink. I chose it because of the direct impact it has into the community and the ability to assure or to ensure that dollars and tax dollars are spread through all communities. That was my reason.
And I really love your reasoning for running. But we know statistics show that usually a lot of people, especially the people of our community, don't come out to vote for these local officials. It's more of those presidents and higher level federal positions that we come out in huge numbers. Why do you think, and what can you say to voters to make them know that it's important to come out to vote for these local elections as well?
I am challenged right now trying to get people out. It is the most hurtful thing. What I would say most to them, remember Flint, Michigan? It was a politician that didn't do something they should have done that got that corrupt water going to those citizens over there. Okay, we got to remember that. And when I teach students, I have 21 students I'm training to be decision makers and policy makers. They are junior commissioners of Henry County. I teach them that everything you do is affected by a politician. And I said, you want to play a game? Name me something. Water, we affect that. Air, we affect the quality of it. Food, we determine what chemicals can go in and where it comes from and when can it be bought and when it can be served. Your clothing, we determine who manufactures them, who has the right to import them, who has the right to export them. We decide what chemicals is in the color of the inks that's in it. There is nothing even to having a child, unless you go up in the hills and the mountains somewhere. We determine where your birthing is. Is it at the hospital? Is it an outpatient at home? We determine who has the right to do the birthing of those children. There is nothing that you can think of that politics does not impact. Nothing. You would have to go, well, I guess if you can go up in the mountains somewhere, there's probably some type of political restriction as to what you can do up there. Where can you burn? What trees are you allowed to cut down? What animals are you allowed to kill? So I teach my students that politics touches every part of your life. And if you don't want someone else making that decision for you, you need to make sure you vote for people who will hear you and work with you. That's why politics is so important. What we need to do, and I had part of this conversation today with dear friends of mine who just lost their son in the shooting in Atlanta. That was one of my dear friends. I was at her house today. And of course, a lot of us was
It
there.
was the one at the restaurant?
Yes. And there was so much conversation, but we got to stop this. And I said, the power lies in our hands. We got to stop this. Can't keep begging other people to do it. We have to, because everything about us is touched by some politician. We've got to educate each other like that. Man, the shoes you wear, a politician determines whether or not you can wear them. Where you live, a politician did that. Let me tell you about a trend that's happening. On my way back home today to get prepared for this, I saw an entire community said, now leasing. Lease is $2,000, I think, $25 a month. Okay. The entire community, brand new houses, every house in there will be a lease purchase. What do you think the trend is? I already know because they've already approached me and I turned them down. The trend is for you to never own, always lease, never have an asset, never have collateral, but we engage you into leasing these homes with a smaller down payment to get you into that circle that you can't get out of. So if I allow you to move into the house, I'm just making up a number, for $3,000, that's your down payment. You go, I can do that. And I say, your lease is $1,800 a month. You think, I'm moving a 3-bedroom house. I got 2 baths. I've got a garage. It may not be 2, but I have a garage. I have a yard, front and back. I'm paying $1,800 a month. Okay. Sounds really good. You laid on one lease, one payment. Your rent now just went up a certain percentage. You get sick and you can't make another one. Something may happen. You have to be thrown out. Because they don't want you. They want you for about 7 months. So they can get the next one in to pay another $3,000 down a month. Just think about the used car lot, how they want to turn them cars. Get another one in, get them started, get them going. Okay, we made enough off that person. We want to go to the next person. Okay?
We have so many, you're right, we have so many predatory industries that are taking advantage of people and prolonging debt, causing debt, and hurting the overall communities that we live in. What can be done? What can we do in terms, because one, we vote, we donate, we do all of that to then witness the change that our promise never come to pass. Now I'm a little bit more, understanding of the process and the slow movement, but there's a lot of sentiment among Gen Z and young voters right now, where they are saying, I am not voting no matter what. I'm angry. I was promised these things, especially in a state like Georgia, that had the longest marathon of an election process. Now, we didn't have our elected officials in place in November. We had to have runoff and then had to have another. So with all of that happening, what can we say to young people that will keep them engaged? Because I'm afraid that come November, we're going to have a massive number of young voters not show up to the polls. And not only young voters, but a number of Black voters as well, who are saying that I cared a lot about the George Floyd policing bill. It didn't make it. I cared a lot about voting rights. We don't have them. I care about abortion rights and the rights of women to be able to make health decisions for their own physical and emotional and mental well-being. And I've lost that too, despite the fact the executive branch of government is held by Democrats, and the majority of the legislative branch is held by Democrats, with 2 independents that caucus with Democrats. What can we say to them? Because I'm afraid the whole entire push to get voters out is a lost cause.
I want you to say to them, we simply must live. I'm going to give you a scenario. I am from Hawkinsville, Georgia, and I am from a very poor part of the Hawkinsville, Georgia. My first jobs were picking cotton, peaches, pecans, butter beans. And I can remember the person when we would pick cucumbers. The rows were so long you could not see the end of them. And what he finally did was use the truck and cut them in half. Now I understand why. He needed to give us some type of hope of getting to the end of that row, okay? As long as we had no hope of getting to the end of the row, we worked slower. We didn't produce as much because it was like, no matter how hard we worked, We were not going to get to the end of that row. Okay? Well, we didn't call him master, but a white man. See that field. That field was actually owned by a black man, I believe. And somebody told him, cut it in half, cut the row in half. And he did. When we could see the end, we said, oh man, we're almost to the end. That gave us a sense of hope of getting there. What I'm saying to you is, we can look at defeat and we can look at things that did not get accomplished and say we'll never get there. And as long as we have that mentality, it opens the door for them to continue to set up abusive situations like the housing and cars and lendings and debt because we gave up. There's no reason for them to try to correct. I have to say to voters, don't give up. You come out for your children if you don't come out for yourself. Try to help do that. And number two, hold every one of us accountable, including me. What did you do? Give me an accountability of your time there. What have you accomplished? And make us answer to you. Every community can set up an accountability committee without permission. Nobody has to give you permission to set those up. And you all can say, in my community, it would be five voices on the rise. Okay? Those 5 voices can watch and come back. Let me tell you all what happened and what we should be concerned about. But we cannot give up, because giving up then opens the door for oppressors to do even more damage, because there's no fight. Ukraine's fight keeps them in the battle. The instant that Russia can get them to say there is no hope, Russia's too big, it's too powerful, it's over. But as long as 1 or 2 people can keep their group saying, we're going to win this part of it, we're going to win that part of it, the battle will continue. So I have to say to all of my younger people, please come out and vote. Vote if they ask you to vote for a dog catcher. Vote when you think we won't get to the end of that road. Because if you don't, you're opening up more opportunities for more oppression to take place. That's what I would say.
I love it. I think that's a great and a hopeful note, Commissioner Vivian, for us to prepare to, transition on. I want to give you an opportunity to Zach, of course, ask another question, and Commissioner, say anything that you want to share with our people as we'll make like a clip of this. There is a hope that there's a lot of work left to be done. We see what could be the end of a road, but we have a long way to get there. And we won't ever get there if we don't have every voter involved. But at the same time, that we don't have continued shared responsibility and accountability from both parties, from all politicians, and from all members of the electorate. So I agree with that. Zach, do you have a final question for Commissioner Vivian?
No, I was just going to ask how can we read more about the work that you're doing, that you hope to do, and stay in contact with you for our viewers out there?
Oh, wow. Okay, I have a website, vote4vivian.com. Vote4vivian.com. Please go on that website and learn more about me and the work that I do in the community. I have not forgotten who I am. I know that I am a female. I know that I'm a Black female. I know that I'm a wonderful plus size Black female.
Okay.
I'm just saying, I haven't forgotten those things. I haven't forgotten that I pick cotton and pick butter beans and cucumbers. I haven't forgotten where I come from. And I have an excuse that maybe I could use to say that I have forgotten. From 7th grade to 12th grade, I was the only Black in my class. I was selected for a gifted program. So that was it. And I had a lot of bullying that took place for infiltrating the last white class in my area with a Black person. So I was inundated with, I hate to say, a lot of white influence around me. My first job, I was the only Black on it. Okay. Again, inundated with an opportunity to forget who I am. But this is what God made me to do. My ministry is in the street, it's not in a pulpit. I am purposely looking for all people that I can help move to a greater level in their life, be it
Mm.
economically, be it personally, be it in the community. I am looking and working to make that happen. Now, while I'm a county commissioner, I make sure that I am involved in my community. I am engaged. I am touchable. I talk to leaders all day. I was at a leader today in what's called Blacksville with Miss Lemon and talking to her about her programs in that area and what other funding she needs to keep those programs going. So we talked about that. She said, I've used the funding that you all directed over here for such and such and so. This is what I need. I said, get it written up for me so we can talk about that with the other commissioners. I am trying to move dollars to disparate communities. I am working to help train young people to be decision and policy makers. I have no desire to do this forever. I want to transition out and let other leaders transition in. So I'm purposely investing in that. When it comes to my work as a commissioner, I have 5 major multi-million dollar projects coming in my district that I can say under my leadership happen. Um, and then I never leave out the fact that I work with a team. When I say me, I'm not building the buildings, but I
Mhm.
have a team hindering, an accounting manager, and a whole group that works to help me bring things to flourishing. I give them my vision and give them my plans and give them the, they say, okay, how are we going to get it done? I said, we're getting it done. So I work with a team. I negotiate exceptionally well. It doesn't matter who it is. I have come into meetings and people be sitting there. I'm going, okay, what are we waiting on, you guys? And they said, well, we're waiting on the commissioner to come. And somebody look over and go, she is the commissioner because I am the only female and the only Black person in the meeting. And they said,
Mm.
oh, we didn't know. We didn't know. I said, it's okay. Now
Now
you
you
know.
do.
Now
Right.
you know. So
Well,
I'm
we
here.
we
For
appreciate you, Commissioner Vivian, and we're so thankful that you're there, that you represent us, that your voice is being heard, that you chose to raise your voice and involve yourself in the municipal level of government. I recognize how important it is to have strong city leaders, strong county leaders, strong elected officials in all levels of government. And to be fair and to be honest, what you do is the most important job in our in our government system. Many times, again, like Zach said, we focus on that president, but the real daily lives that we live, they're affected by the decisions that you make. You push to get that pothole fixed. You push to get that trash and hold that garbage collection accountable. You push to ensure that the regulations and codes are upheld and not adjusted because the city government may want to save money or repurpose those funds. So I thank you. I appreciate you. We got to log off. I have another program starting right at 9. So thank you guys so much
Thank
for
you.
joining.
Thank
Zach,
you.
have an
Anytime.
amazing week. And Commissioner Vivian, anything you need, you got it. We love you.
Thank
Take
you. Bye
care.
bye.
Bye bye.